Hi, 7 billion people in the world plus try to fit in the world. So, yes, and today I'm going to talk about something new, something fancy word, and that is Schadenfreude. So, what the heck is a Schadenfreude? So, Schadenfreude is what you gratify, you relish, what you enjoy most, and what you're ecstatic about. If someone is suffering, someone is experiencing travail, hindrances, predicament, hardships, and all those ugly things and unglamorous things in life. So, example of that is, for example, if you see someone you hate, that this someone did something wrong to you, let's say brutally or fatally, and for some reason this evil person who hurt you for such a long time, let's say for example, when this evil person is trying to go to other places, or to this person is traveling, and for some reason the vehicle that he is getting on suddenly explodes. So that is Schadenfreude to you. So you will feel Schadenfreude. It's like a revenge that even though you didn't do, it just happened. It's just happened for you to feel better, because it's like actually a karma, right? Even though you don't know when will you get the justice that you should get from the person who hurt you or to aggravate you. And then sometimes fate, sometimes destiny is doing revenge for you. So I think that is the best thing, a best revenge that you can have, because you're not the one who do a crime, using your hands in order for you to seek justice, right? So actually, you will feel, or you will get Schadenfreude if, let's say for example, circumstances, let's say events, or let's say, yeah, let's say bad weather or calamities, something that will help you to seek justice. Let's say, for example, you have your adversary, and your adversary is in a certain place, and then, for example, this certain place is going to flood or bad weather, or let's say typhoon, and that certain place live the one who did something wrong to you brutally and fatally, and suddenly his house is being flooded, or let's say hit by a typhoon, and for some reason all the things that he had there went away, or let's say destroyed, and that person also experienced trouble, struggles, and almost dying situation. So that is the example of Schadenfreude. So, yeah, as I mentioned, Schadenfreude is the feeling, ecstatic feeling, the feeling that you desire, because of course you really want to do revenge, because we don't want to be hurt. As I mentioned earlier, when you say Schadenfreude, it means that you enjoy, you relish, you gratify that someone is suffering, someone is going through difficulties, struggles, travail, and predicaments, and also hardships. So that is the feeling that you feel, of course, when someone hurt you without reason, or if this person really hates you, and for some reason this someone who hurt you, who does malice to you, experiences like this person is in jeopardy, this person is in a bad situation, then you'll get Schadenfreude. So example of Schadenfreude there would be mula sa puso. So I'm actually a big fan of teleserye or series, I think, yeah, something like that. So series in the Philippines, because Filipinos are very dramatic people. So the best example of Schadenfreude there is, of course, when Selena. So Selena is the character that Lynn Punsalan was portraying, and we all know that she's very famous with her evil laugh, when she set the bus on fire. So that was very phenomenal in the Philippine TV history. So it's actually in the 90s and I'm a big fan. I still can't get over it. It's a legendary. Let's set dyan. So yeah, I would say that this is epic. Yeah, so the perfect word for that is epic. It's so amazing, mind-blowing kind of character that not only the characters but also how this of course the plot, the how the story invented, or because I don't know if this happened for, or I don't know if this has happened in real life, but or if this is true story, but yeah, I would say that it's so phenomenon, so I love it. And then what else would say, so yeah, so Schadenfreude is Lynn Punzalan, so she is Selena. So Selena was Schadenfreude when she saw the bus that was burning, but for some reason, I think Via is Claudine Barreto, so she's the actress there. So Via was able to escape from the bus or from the fire, and then eventually Via was able to escape from the evil trap of Selena. So another shot and Friday there. I think at the end of the story, so I would say that the fatal death of Selena there was also to Via. She was Schadenfreude. So she was Schadenfreude, which is Via, because they had fight scene at the end of the story. So they were in a building. So they were fighting. It was a cat fight, and for some reason, Selena there suddenly fell off the building. And when Selena was about to escape, because Via was supposed to kill Selena, so unfortunately, Selena hit and be ridden by a truck. So I think when Via, Claudine Barreto, saw the fatal death of Selena, I know that that was Schadenfreude to Via, so which is Claudine Barreto. Because at the end of the story, unfortunately, Selena was buried by the truck. So that's how the story ended. But I like it so much because, as I mentioned, it's a very epic kind of movie. Actually, there was a version of it, but I am not impressed. I would still prefer the original one. You can never go wrong with the original, piece of art. That was a masterpiece. So another example of Schadenfreude there would be this thug. So there was a thug there who would like to inflict someone. Unfortunately, when this mute woman or lady, when she was driving the car going to that weird place, so this mute woman or lady suddenly hit the man. And when she was going to check what happened, when she went out of the car, she suddenly saw this thug. So this thug basically was hurting or inflicting and brutalizing someone they want to die or to suffer. And one of the instances there was, of course, when this mute lady captured by this thug. So when this thug captured the woman, they tried to pick her and brought her to a house. So I would say that it's an abandoned, ugly house. So there were a lot of bones. The place was, or the room or the house was unpleasant because there were a lot of ugly things there. So one of the ugly things there was the bones. So maybe those were the collection of the people they killed. So that's why they were thug. So when they captured the mute woman, this thug wanted to inflict her, especially to rape her. So she suffered from rape and maltreatment, especially hitting her. So she had a lot of wounds and bruises all over her body because, yeah, as I mentioned, she was hit, she was raped, and she was brutalized by this thug, this group of psychos. So unfortunately, she was really resistless. She was resistless and she wasn't able to fight back because she was captured, she was tied up, her whole body was tied up, so it's difficult for her to defend herself and to even hit back those psycho men. So unfortunately, she ended up having a lot of bruises on her body. So she wasn't able to escape because she was tied up. But so unfortunately, she ended up dying. And when she died, this thug buried her underneath the soil. So when she was buried underneath the soil, unfortunately, she died. But for some reason, she was able to revive her life because when she was when she was dig out of the soil, so she was able to possessed by an evil spirit. So that evil spirit led her to did revenge. So what she did was she was able to kill those psychotic men individually. So she paid back by she did pay back by means of killing them one by one. So she was Schadenfreude when she was doing that because it's like a revenge that she should do because it's for her own good. So she was seeking for the justice that she experienced or that she suffered from those psychotic men. But at the end of the story, unfortunately, she died spiritually because her boyfriend tried to kill her. So I would say that it's heartbreaking because they were lovers from the very beginning, and it's really sad that at the end of the story, her boyfriend was able to kill her because her boyfriend didn't want her to to kill a lot of people, especially those bad people. So yeah, so she ended up killed by her own boyfriend for her own good, so that her spirit will be in respite. So yeah. So that's the story of the mute girl who suffered from psychotic men. So another example of Schadenfreude there would be the villain of Angelica de la Cruz. So I'm going to link here her face. So it happened when Angelica de la Cruz was inside the CR. So the reason why this woman or this lady was Schadenfreude is that she really wanted to let Angelica de la Cruz suffer from any bad activities, or should I say, from anything that would let her suffer. So it happened when Angelica de la Cruz was inside the CR, and when she went out of the CR, she suddenly slid, and when she slided, she fell, and these three villains were Schadenfreude because they enjoyed they enjoyed that Angelica de la Cruz suffered from her fall, so fall onto the floor. So when she suddenly slided, she wasn't able to fight back because of course they were three, and she's not I would say troublesome kind of person. So the reason why this villain or baddie is angry at Angelica de la Cruz is that Jericho Rosales is really in love with her, despite that her appearance, her unpleasant appearance. So she is actually portraying as a monster there. So she has a genetic. So she had a genetic of being a monster. So she was hunchback. So there was deformity on her spine. So she looks hunchback. And but despite that, Jericho Rosales is really in love with Angelica or Marian, so she portrayed as Marian there. Because Marian has a good heart, she is not only beautiful inside, but I would say outside. The only problem was her spine, or yeah, she's hunchback. So yeah, so unfortunately, she transformed into a monster there because she had a monster DNA. So they were able to conquer the hardships and trials that they went through. So at the end of the story, they were together. But unfortunately, Angelica de la Cruz was killed there because when Angelica de la Cruz turned into monster, she was able to defend Jericho Rosales from monster that is also belong to her descendants. So yeah, so unfortunately, when Angelica de la Cruz was trying to save Jericho from monster that is belong to her family, unfortunately Angelica died. So that how sad the story ended.